Okay, so we have here titanium buff, ultramarine violet, and yellow ochre. So we're going to work on the baskets today. I'll give them some texture, not much, but enough to show it's a basket weave. So we have, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 baskets, and there's another one in the back here. So it's going to be almost like with what we did here. I'm going to take yellow ochre, put a bit of ultramarine violet in it. We don't want to start with a very strong light color, and let's test it and see. It's not bad. Round brush. So let's go in. You give it some texture in here. Some of it will be a little bit darker using ultramarine violets, more ultramarine violets, and some of it will be lighter. So let's go into that. And you'll see in a minute, when I start highlighting, then you will see. Now what we're doing is like mid-tone, and then when we start highlighting, it will look better. We really don't want to give it, we don't want to make it too, let's see how detailed. It's just texture. That's what we're looking for. Okay, let's take some ultramarine violet and go in and give it a couple of those darks. We could use brown too if we want instead of ultramarine violet, but it doesn't matter. We could use raw umber, burnt umber, whatever we want. Okay. The only reason I'm using ultramarine violet is just it's softer. Okay, so now I'm going to take titanium buff, put it in my yellow ochre. I'm going to go in. Now I'm going to mix. This is the rim. I'm going to mix more ultramarine, yellow ochre in there with my titanium buff. And then I'm going to come here and just give it weave texture. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Just a suggestion of that weave. It's going to dry darker, so we can easily go back and adjust our highlights. It's more like a horizontal line and vertical and horizontal. Just easiest way. It'll take some time, but we'll do it fast. We will visit this one more time after when it's dry, and then we'll see what we need to adjust. It's good enough for now. Darken this area. This is the other part. This is the back part of the basket. Darken. Okay. It's up to you how much you want to put detail in there, but really, I just want to put a suggestion. I'm just going back and forth and adjusting. So this is going to dry darker, so I can go back and add some highlights in there. The same thing for the one in the back, but what we're going to do is make the one in the back slightly darker by adding more ultramarine violet with my with the yellow ochre. Mid-tone. You know what? I'm going to just do the mid-tones right now, all of them, and then we will highlight instead of going back and forth. This way, we'll just do them all. Further back the basket is, the less detail you're going to see. Yeah, we're getting there. Okay, let's highlight a bit. Taking my brush has ultramarine violet and yellow ochre on it. I'm just adding a bit of ultramarine, a bit of yellow ochre and titanium buff. And I'm just going to come here. Give it some hint of detail. It will look better once we put some stuff in it, you know, some lavender and lemons. And right now we're just looking at the basket, but once we start adding stuff around, it will look much better. Just vertical and horizontal lines. Vertical, horizontal, again, vertical, horizontal. Now this one is dry. I can go back and add a tiny bit more highlights. So I'm adding a little bit more of the ultramarine titanium buff with my yellow ochre. And I'm just going to go in and just add a couple of those highlights. Just makes it look a bit more interesting. I'm going to give you time to work on it. I'll stop recording in a minute or pause. Okay. So I have brown here, burnt umber, and a bit of ultramarine violet. I'm going to mix them, make them into kind of a glaze, not too thick. This is dry, so I'm going to have first, I'm going to do this. And another one, what I'm going to do is this part, I'm going to glaze this part darker. And now this basket looks like it's on an angle. It was flat before, so now it's on an angle. Now the same thing, I'm going to do the same thing with the one in the back. I'm not going to glaze it on an angle, but I'm going to glaze it darker, a little bit darker. So this one in the front, I can see that this one is in the front, and this one, the one in the back is further back. So this way, this way. Now what I can do, it's going to dry darker. That's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this part a little bit more. Especially here, side. And kind of soften this turn so it's not sharp. Okay. Right. I'm going to work on the crates. So I'm using titanium buff and burnt umber for the crates. So they're not the same color as the baskets. So I'm going to do this one in the front. I did the side, same colors, burnt umber and titanium buff.
So what was the colors again for the crates?
Burnt umber and titanium buff.
Okay.
Burnt umber, put a bit of ultramarine in it. Just burnt umber and ultramarine violet. And I'm going to come here. Another one right there. Let's do the same for these two. I know there are baskets in the wire baskets in the reference, but we'll just make them into crates. Wooden. Some darks. Brown. Make it very simple. This is dry, so I'm going to highlight it a little bit more. So I'm going to take titanium buff, add more titanium buff to my burnt umber, and just touch of the yellow ochre. And let's highlight this one more time. Just the front. Cadmium red medium, ultramarine violet to make it darker. And with a round brush, I'm just going to put the first layer for this dark, for the red peppers. And then we will highlight them next week. So this is a good first layer for the darks. I think I should go a little bit darker. Let's take.
Oh, it's nice.
Yeah, let's take some brown and darken a bit more. So when we highlight, we can see them individually, kind of. And we can highlight the lemons too. This is cadmium yellow medium, and it has a bit of brown in it for the first layer. I was doing the first layer. Now we can, I added a bit more of the cadmium yellow medium with burnt umber, but less burnt umber, more yellow. So I'm gonna highlight just the top if I can. This is really tiny. And I'll highlight it with white after. It will look better when it's highlighted with white. It would look now like they're connected, but once I start adding a bit of white to my yellow, I can make a bit more kind of a separation. Like we did with the ones up.
Where's Stero?
I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't heard from her.